So a while ago, I was watching a video by Keegan talking about sounding white as an African, and I really related to that video. So I tried to find more videos like it, but literally no one talks about this. So I guess we're gonna have to start the trend. I have a strong white African accent, even though I'm black. And because of my accent, I've had my fair share of unpleasant, weird, and funny stories come of it. So in this video, I want to talk about what it's like having a quote-unquote white accent. Not even just as a black guy, but literally any race, because I genuinely feel like this is a more common thing than anyone thinks it is. The very obvious question I get when people hear my accent is, where did I get my accent from? You see, I was born and raised in South Africa, but come from a Congolese household. So when I first started learning English, I had a Congolese English accent, and at the time we lived in a more ghetto area. So when I finally started school, my accent became more of a ghetto accent. So you probably just think, oh, we just moved to a less ghetto area and that's why the accent changed. I went to Nigeria for a year and came back with the sickest Nigerian accent of all time. Having a strong accent led me to getting roasted to the sun back at school, which led me to become less and less social. And because I wasn't leaving the house as much, I started watching a whole lot of American movies and YouTubers. I still remember going to the public library to get as many YouTube videos on my USB as possible and watch them for hours. So naturally, I began to pick up some of the accent of the American creators I used to watch and mixing it with my own. It was a very gradual change, so no one really noticed. But that all changed when I started attending high school, because my accent would just become a stereotypical white African accent. My water evolved into water. Something I realized very quickly is that a lot of my classmates started mimicking and making fun of my accent. And it was kind of like when I had the Nigerian accent, but with a fancier font. Because I went to a kinda ghetto high school, I became an easy target for jokes, all because I sounded different. But to be fair, I didn't really help myself, since I had a group of friends who also didn't really have black South African accents. We were kinda asking for it. Like, I've been teased, I've been mimicked by teachers, treated like a pushover just because of my accent. And for a while, I actually started to get a bit insecure about it. It's all fun and games when it's your friends, but when random strangers just start calling you coconut or Oreo or American, you begin to start disliking your accent. You'll never guess this, but I used to hate meeting new people, because I could just tell that they were judging me every single time I opened my mouth, especially if they were Congolese. I like my Congolese people, but y'all can be very judgmental. Like to put this into context, even though I don't sound anything like your typical Congolese, I look very Congolese. Like, I'm not fooling anyone. So whenever I run into another Congolese person, I already know they're gonna be disappointed. Not because of my accent, but because I can't speak any other languages. I can't speak Lingala, I can't speak French, I can't speak Swahili, I can't speak Chiluba. Like, what is with this random whitewashed Congolese kid? Like, guys, I have just put all my language stats into English. I maxed. Please have mercy. I'm not a disappointment to our ancestors. Like, even when I visit my family's friends and they meet me for the first time, they're always so impressed by my English. But the minute they find out that's all I can speak, it's like... for some reason, there's a bunch of people who hear my accent and think, yeah, he likes men. I don't understand this at all. What about my accent makes me gay? And this isn't like a one-time thing. I've been called gay more than 50 times by like several different people. I had a moment that genuinely made me stop and wonder if this was actually true. You see, I was talking with a friend and we see this kid in a minibus. The kid looks at us and starts calling us gay. My friend and I are kind of like stun-locked, because who is this random lost kid? Where is his parents? Why is he calling us gay? So we ignored the kid and continued walking, and then this kid gets out of the minibus, grabs some rocks and starts throwing it at us. Luckily for us, the kid had the aim of a stormtrooper, so none of it hit us. So I look back at this kid, and this kid says, "Don't look at me, you..." That kid was like 5 years old max. I didn't even think it was possible for kids that young to act like that. Someone ought to teach this kid to talk less and smile more, because fools who run their mouths often end up beat up and on the floor. That incident really stuck with me and had me question if my accent was the second zestiest accent after the French male accent. For the longest time, I felt like I never fit in. I felt like I wasn't Congolese enough to be Congolese and didn't feel South African enough to be called South African. I've always felt like I get judged by my fellow black South Africans. And what doesn't help is that I don't really like using the N-word. I say nig instead, which makes a lot of people look at me like, who does this kid think he is? Does he think he's white? I've never been told these words to my face, but it's just what I see in other people's behavior towards me. Maybe I have a bad mindset on it though, I don't know. But what I've realized is that the opinions that I spoke about in this video are never coming from the people who actually know and care for me. So it doesn't matter what any rando thinks of me, they don't matter. What matters are the people who understand and accept me with all my weird and goofy quirks. And I'm so grateful to have people like that around me. There's a lot of things I like about my accent that I bet you can't guess. Like, I can do a pretty decent UK accent, yeah? Come on, sit, hey? Come on, sit. It's also funny to have people react on how I say certain things and low-key rage bait them. Words like genuine and trash have been peak rage bait material. Also, my accent for the most part is easy to understand, which I'm really grateful for, because I don't need to worry if y'all can understand me or not. I see your guys' comments complimenting my accent, and those comments genuinely make my day. I wish I could show this to the younger me who thought everyone hated their voice, so we could finally grow and accept it. Thank you so much for 30,000 subscribers. Shout out y'all. And also shout out to Keegan who inspired this video.